have to take accountability or responsibility for my actions, and I'm an adult. Taking accountability for your actions is something that's honestly kind of rare nowadays, and that's why there's a lot of commentary channels on YouTube that just specialize in just kind of shit talking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just like kind of being mean to people, but like it's deserved, but it's like still a little bit mean, and it's kind of still, I don't know. I feel like though, if you want to be respected by the people around you, you should be able to admit when you're wrong and admit when you've made a mistake, admit when you have shortcomings, and be honest. I'm the king of reading and reacting to my hate comments. I take them all very seriously. But I have heard from people that this is all true, and this is where you learn as a human being and grow as a human being. Or you could be a legendary UFC fighter and you could just be whooping up on people, and you just feel like your ego is really big and thick and calloused. Classic Tom and Jerry style. You don't have to take any sort of accountability for yourself and your failures. Side note, that Tom and Jerry edit we just put in the video, getting older, you realize that Tom and Jerry also had to deal with the societal pressures and the different molds they were forced to fit in at the hand of big cartoon. Today we're talking about Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is an American professional wrestler, not WWE, but like actual wrestling.
Title on the line. The champion. The challenger.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Come on.
There's something inside of me, and it needs out. And if you go to sour.gg, you can buy it. It's candy. These aren't in stock anymore, but it's just the other bag we brought.
She was an Olympic judo martial artist. Pretty cool, pretty strong. Ronda is the daughter of Anne Maria DeMars, who was the first American to win the World Judo Championship, which is a very big deal, because if you look at the names of the other winners of these championships, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty rare for an American to be good at that. I don't even know what judo is. Just kidding. That's the one that Vladimir Putin does. Miss Rousey competed from 2004 to 2008, and she won bronze at the 2008 Summer Olympic Games in Beijing. Won a lot of stuff. She's really good at judo. She won bronze in 2008 at the Olympics. Sorry, the Ozempics. And yes, 2008 was the year in which America just everybody up overall. 2008. I mean, we do it kind of every single year. We kind of whoop ass a little bit, you know? Just kidding. I can see people who aren't American just pressing the dislike button.
Oh, I hate America, and I don't even know why. Can I have some sugar in my water?
No, dipshit. It is no doubt that Ronda Rousey has a ton of immense competition and fighting experience under her belt, and that includes MMA. She fought this person, Hayden Munoz. That was in 2010, her amateur debut. She defeated the hell out of her. It was awesome. I'm pretty sure cameras better than this existed in 2010. I mean, that is just like, you had to try hard to have something look that bad, I feel like. Is that just me?
I'll say some shit, I'll see recording and I'm like, man.
She eventually got into Strikeforce, which is like sort of a precipitory league before the UFC that eventually, a lot of big UFC greats were in Strikeforce. Tim Kennedy, for example. A couple others, I'm sure. A lot of them. Ronda beat up Miesha Tate. She was a massive woman MMA fighter at the time. Huge deal. Ronda won the first match, got a belt, and then rematched at UFC 168, and that was also another awesome success. This is when Anderson Silva was still relevant, and I believe the same card where Anderson Silva fucking snapped his leg into two pieces. Ronda, kind of grumpy. She's got like this pout to her, right? Hey, would you shut up? I'm gonna put you in the ring and you're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to fucking fight. Ronda refused. She did the old, I refuse to shake your hand because I disrespect you because I'm about to whip up on you. That's not very sportsmanlike, but also at the same time, who cares?
Wow, she went to shake Ronda's hand and Ronda walked away from her.
The UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. Wow, she went to shake Ronda's hand and Ronda walked away from her. This is huge news, Dean. Huge news, Dean. Yeah, Ronda's got a bit of an attitude, though. And she showed it very early. And she, you know, I never bought into the hype.
I'm just wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what it is about Holly that makes you want to fight her so much, and also what makes you so confident that you can win.
Well, what makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world.
Not ever a big fan of Ronda Rousey. She seems smug, and I didn't like her. I like people with good sportsmanship and people who are nice.
Alexander Volkanovski with a virtuoso performance tonight.
I've only recently started to like Nick and Nate Diaz. What can I say? I'm a narc, basically. Ronda's career was just beginning, though. She would continue to go on and win more titles and be an absolute badass and get on Joe Rogan's podcast. Joe Rogan said at one point that she could beat most of the men, most of the bantamweight men. Now, I'm no misogynist, but that's just not true. Unfortunately for Ronda Rousey, she won a bunch of titles, though. Very, very, very popular. Probably the most popular woman in MMA up until recently, or the last like maybe 8 years or so, 6 years. She had a bit of a fall from grace. All right, we'll get into that. Pretty cool. 12 wins, 2 losses. 12 wins, that's the fucking shit ton. Quite frankly, since her fall from grace, it's been relatively quiet. She hasn't had a lot of coverage. She had a husband for a while, and I think he didn't do very well in the UFC. He did for a little bit, had a bit of a run, but I forget his name, okay? He's this big hairy guy. I'm not even really sure. I think this is her husband. I'm not sure. Maybe it was Joe Rogan. I forget. The point is, Ronda Rousey was absolutely the figurehead for women's combat sports, and now she is not. She's just not the figurehead at all. There's a few channels that I watch on a semi-regular basis, Sunny V2 and Too Lazy to Try. Kind of a fan, a little bit partial to Too Lazy to Try. I really like that channel, okay? That dude doesn't put any effort in it, and I love it.
All right, so Ronda Rousey recently called out Joe Rogan for turning on her after she lost the Holm fight. Because if you remember, before Ronda lost, Joe was a huge fan of hers. Some would say her biggest fan.
He doesn't do anything at all, and I love that shit. It's really good content. If you want to just hear someone talk, basically critical, but even lazier. Just kidding. That's mean. Critical's not lazy. None of these people are lazy. It's hard shit. It's hard shit. I'm just joking around. I saw Too Lazy to Try's video a few weeks ago, and I was like, that's the first time I've heard Ronda Rousey's name in years.
And if you've listened to any of the podcasts she was on or seen clips from them, I'm sure you know she hasn't changed much, and she still hasn't gotten over her loss to Holm.
Honestly, that's the first time I've thought about her since her head got kicked off her neck by Holm back in whatever year that was, 2016 or something. Needless to say, though, it's a really interesting story, and how we get from there to here is really interesting. Because you see, if there's one thing people don't like, it's someone with an insufferable ego, someone who just thinks that they're God, kinda, maybe the lamb that is written of in Revelations 5. Do a Koresh edit as I look at the camera. Turn me into David Koresh. Ha ha ha. POV. This is Ronda Rousey after a few consecutive wins. Her head, get it? Her head's so big and stuff because she won a lot and she did really well. And to be fair, you know, it was good, high quality combat competition, but she just didn't evolve. And she would speak about herself as if she was an unstoppable Greek goddess, impossible to defeat. Really crazy. She said that she was better than every single other girl in every area of MMA, which is just not true.
And I believe that I'm better than every other girl in every area of MMA. MMA striking is different, and I think I'm the best at it.
I get it. It's like the WWE, right? It's kind of like you're talking it up a little bit, but the MMA is real, though. That's like the difference is it's real. And for some reason, when Conor McGregor does it, it's like, yeah, that's pretty funny.
This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't f***ing move. They're not, who the f*** is that guy? Who the f*** is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the f*** is that? Oh my God.
And when she does it, it's like, oh, I don't like that at all.
I'm very, very confident in my ability to take a hit.
I don't like that. That's kind of weird. I didn't know that I didn't like that, but I really don't like that. It's weird. She repeatedly claimed she's the best fighter in the world many times. By the way, this is all before she fought Holm.
What makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world.
Bit of a bully. Bit of a bully. She seems like a bully. She seems like a person who is just kind of mean. I mean, everyone else in women's combat sports is pretty badass, like Amanda Nunes. Even Miesha Tate was pretty cool. Holm, absolute f***ing badass. Even at the time, like 9-10 years ago, when she was at her massive peak, her arrogance and attitude made her seem very out of touch, and people didn't like her. Even people who were her fans didn't like her, and they wanted to see that arrogance corrected. They wanted to see her get knocked down a peg. They were preying on her downfall. They were smoking that Rousey pack. Ooh. Do a cool smoking that pack edit. I'm surprised Frankie didn't freak out. Oh, there she is. Sit, baby. Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Oh, you're such a... Oh, don't fall. Check out this hilarious Reddit post from 7 years ago. Oh my God. People really liked her early on. Lot of love. And then later on, lot of hate. Rousey's transitions and groundwork is truly beautiful, entertaining to watch, and really effective. Ronda's such a badass. I like Tate too. Andrew Tate. But that was incredibly stupid on her part not to tap. I always thought it was weird that they let her beat up Andrew Tate like that. That was really strange to me. Like, Andrew Tate was in the UFC for a couple years, and he lost. For some reason, he fought in the 135-pound class division of women's MMA. It's very strange. You see, guys, that was a joke. That was a sarcasm. That was sarcasm. That was a joke. It's not real. It's not real. So sometimes when I say stuff, it's not real. It's not true. It's supposed to be funny. And then people comment about it, and I'm like, well, that's unfortunate that someone believed that. Oh, well. Not my problem. Then we got this guy 9 years ago. He got some haters, obviously, as well back then. God, I hope Holm beats Ronda. I'm getting kind of sick of the Ronda hype. I liked her for the last couple years, but now I'm getting sick of how cocky she is when, although she's good, she's not as good as she thinks, but rather is fighting competition way below her. Absolutely true. By the time she eventually faced Holly Holm, you can see her record here. There's quite a few fights. By the time she faced Holly Holm, there was already a big shift in attitude. People wanted to see her get knocked down a peg or two just because she's cocky and not like she's the savior of little girls. Like it's just such a strange. I would never want to talk to anyone who's that cocky. That's insane. You're living in a fantasy land. All she did was talk shit, which I'm behind, and act cocky. Not as behind. There are ways to do both those things that are fun. For example, Conor McGregor, but it's satisfying to see him get beat the up too, even if you like him. It's just, you know, I want to see that fucking little, who's the little guy in boxing who can't read?
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to.
I want to see him lose. God, even if it's against Jake or Logan Paul or something.
I come in to fight, it's for real, and I'm going to beat you, and that's the way it is.
For me, I'd rather die and go bankrupt than ever walk out of there not the winner. I'm going to walk out of there the winner every single time. I lost enough.
What if you walk out the loser and also basically died in the eyes of the public and probably are close to going bankrupt? Is that that's like pretty close to reality. Just kidding. She made a lot of money. On the other side of that coin, we have Holly Holm, someone who is incredibly sweet, who has incredible sportsmanship, who is a true person to be idolized for, you know, children, young people, whatever it is, young boys, girls, whatever. This is an athlete. This is a star here. And even she had some positive words for Ronda.
Just your thoughts on fighting Ronda and what she's done for the sport.
Oh, I don't think anybody can talk negative about that. She's done a lot for the sport, and that's helped pave the way for us. So I'm not gonna lie about that or deny that. I have all the respect in the world for her, but I'm very competitive, and I feel like I belong in there as well. So I'm going with everything I got.
True champ. Handles herself like a champ. That's awesome. Didn't even make a joke. Better person than I, easily. Just kidding. She does make a slight poke, but it's pretty funny.
I'm walking with every bit of confidence into this fight. Confidence without being cocky or overconfident. I know I'm up against the best fighter. They aren't calling her the most dominant female fighter. They're calling her the most dominant female athlete. So that's a lot to carry. Absolutely. Do I have to do everything right? Absolutely. But it's possible.
What about Serena Williams? Who the called Ronda Rousey the most dominant female athlete? Everybody knew that Holly was a beast at this point as well. I mean, she's an incredible kickboxer. Head kicks, badass. People were saying head kick KO Ronda Rousey, head kick KO Ronda Rousey. Here's Ronda Rousey talking about in her head kicks looking like Conan the Barbarian.
This one's going to be a much longer fight because she's a 19-time boxing world champion with 100% takedown defense and like head kick knockouts. I mean, she's undefeated, an amazing athlete. I think the biggest threat definitely to me, especially on paper and stylistically. And she's the type of fighter that you have to be very, very patient with. I feel like she's going to try and like keep distance and keep far away from me and get me frustrated to a point I'll make a mistake and she can try and kick me in the head, but it's not going to go like that. Not the way that she wants.
It went exactly like that, TBH. Also, that is the whack haircut. Bruh. That is the whack haircut of all time right there. There was a brief scuffle at the weigh-ins. Everyone wanted her to get head kicked. She's standing there like the machinations of our mind, the machinist. I love weigh-ins. Even in the wake of starting shit with her, Holly still showed Ronda restraint and respect. Joe Brogan asked her about her thoughts on Ronda, and she was pretty nice.
Give us your thoughts on Ronda as a champion and what tomorrow night means to you.
Well, I'm here, and that's right. I am here to shock the world, but, you know, I know that I have my hands full with Ronda. I have all the respect for her in the world. She's done a hard job there. She's, you know, ran through everybody, but I'm a different fighter.
Then Joe Brogan talked to Ronda, and she was honestly a
I just wanted to get her in her face and show her that I was there for a reason. She's the one that put the fist on my face. I didn't touch her. She's the one that touched me, and I told her that fake sweet act is, I see right through it. I really do. It was all fake. All until now. All that respect, all that everything, all you being sweet. I see right now that it's fake, and you're gonna get it on Sunday.
That's fake. I see right the thing. I can see right through it. All right. She hasn't head kicked you yet, so there's no reason to be punch drunk and have your words jumbled, but there is. And that's one of her biggest excuses we'll get into later, guys. Ronda, up until this point, was undefeated, which made it all the worse and more shocking when she went down with a perfectly placed head kick KO. By God, I got up and I did 3 front flips simultaneously, or at least that's what I felt like I did. I didn't do any of that. I just stood up. I was really excited when this happened, though. It was awesome.
Ronda's in trouble.
Damn, she's hurt. Oh, she's dead. She died. She knocked the ego out of her, changed her whole career, changed her entire mindset, ruined her life. It was awesome. And then she broke up with Travis Barker, or Travis Pastrana, or Travis... What are you doing? I'd rather see y'all back there or something. You know how they always mount up on one another? It's really weird, but the licking thing's really old, and I get tired of it. Stop! Oh yeah, by the way, a little random thing. I got a candy company. It's called Sour.gg. It's called Sour Boys, but go to Sour.gg and buy some new flavors. We got some pretty cool shit, guys. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot going on right now, and it's awesome, and I love it. People cheered on the defeat. It was awesome. I cheered it on. My whole family was so excited, dude. So excited. It was awesome. It was great. I loved it. You know, Wanda's ego was so out of control, and she thought herself unbeatable. She had no respect for anyone and test all of her opponents. She deserved to get knocked out and brought down to up. Thank you, Russell Meyer 883. You should work on that speech impediment, though. It's a little distracting. Ronda, no longer undefeated. Twitch hype train derailed. Okay, she couldn't own the loss. She deflected it all, and she went up. She was still famous for a little while after that, and she was still relevant for a little while after that, and she just kept talking about how her title fights before in her 9 months, 3 title fights in 9 months. No one else has ever attempted that.
It was my 3rd title fight in 9 months, and I don't think anyone's ever even attempted that before. And
That's a lot.
yeah, but I don't make any excuses or anything like that.
She says some really insane shit in this interview with Ellen the Degenerate. And it's the main one is this, where she said it's a choice to be defeated.
I really do believe I'm still undefeated because being defeated is a choice. Everybody has losses in their life, but I choose to always be undefeated.
That's not how it works, though. She also makes the excuse, said she was tired.
I've fought in worse conditions, but I think the one thing that was different, I just kind of felt tired.
Pretty fucking hilarious. A total 180 on the attitude.
I'm the greatest fighter in the world. I think the one thing that was different, I just kind of felt tired.
Stuck a needle in the ego and let all the air come out until it's just a deflated ball sack of excuses and just refusal to take accountability for anything. Just a ball sack, though. A hairy ball sack. She even broke down crying on Ellen.
I was like in the medical room, and I was like down in the corner. I was sitting in the corner, and I was like, what am I anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and like thinking about myself, and that exact second I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore? And no one gives a shit about me anymore.
You lost once. What kind of perspective is that? That's insane. You lost once. Holly Holm heard about that and of course was very kind because she's a good, nice person with a solid head on her shoulders that are substantially more fit than mine. She got good shoulders. Look at her. She got
that after she lost the fight,
amazing
she felt
shoulders.
suicidal. How does that make you feel when you hear that?
Well, you know, I've kind of just been, I know that for me, whenever I've been kind of down, the last person that I really want to be giving me, you know, consoling me is the person that maybe did it. It's kind of like, leave me alone. Deal with this. So I don't take that lightly when anybody says anything like that. So I always want the best for them. I feel like the best thing to do is surround yourself by people that support you, and you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be out there in the media.
Toughen up, learn to lose. That's what I would have said. Just kidding. That's not what I would have said. I would have felt probably pretty bad as well. But I mean, what an incredible human being Holly is with this response. And this began the downward trajectory, and it would continue. It would continue. 2015, end of 2015, early 2016, right when I was becoming a YouTuber, guys. I was about to start playing. I was about to go on a just run for the ages. Literally, just 9 years ago? A 9-year run. Amazing Frog. I'll see you bums later. I'm gonna go out and explore and see if I can find any more Christmas stuff, because I'm really excited about all this Christmas stuff in here, guys. This is me right here, Amazing Frog, Feed and Grow Fish. And then you got Ronda Rousey. That's us, basically. Just kidding, by the way. She's rich as shit. She has an insane, she's one of the most talented women in combat sports of all time. I'm joking, all right? I'm joking, but it's fun to do that. It's fun to joke about it, you know? It would take Ronda over a year to get back into the ring, which is probably a good idea. Big ass head kick knockout like that, not good. Not good. That's gonna f you up for the rest of your life. You will feel that from now until infinity and beyond and all that. But 13 and a half months later, she would fight Amanda Nunes, who is an incredible fighter in women combat sport. During the face-off, she didn't have a big stinking attitude. She left the stage immediately. It was different. They had 2 face-offs. She didn't say a word. Ronda seems like her ego was, maybe she's coming back, guys. Maybe she's coming back.
I'm here with champion Amanda Nunes. Amanda, this is a massive opportunity for you to fight the most famous women's fighter in the history of the sport. Give us your thoughts on this opportunity to defend your title.
She left. She's still grumpy. I'm leaving. I'm not talking to Joe Rogan. I think this was after he had talked some shit about her on his podcast. I think she was really upset. She hates everybody. She's very sour.
We don't have a Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson in women's MMA yet, but it's coming. It's coming. And Ronda's not that. You know, Ronda's more like maybe like a Chuck Liddell or one of the early pioneers of men's MMA. Super talented, really fun to watch, but perhaps limited in their approach.
This kind of attitude, by the way, really compounded all the people who already wanted to see her lose. They're like, oh, now she's a sore loser. Amanda's positive. Ronda is nothing but negative. Still hasn't shaken the loss from 13 and a half months ago exactly. Show some class, craphead. Yeah, see? At this point, a lot of people were like, well, Amanda's probably going to beat the shit out of her and knock her out. She already got knocked out once. This is the end for Ronda Rousey, and she'll probably quit. People were theorizing that. There was a lot of people saying she'd retire, and by God, that fight went even more poorly for Ronda. She only lasted 48 seconds. She got knocked clean out. It's supposed to be a championship fight, but it looks like maybe the easiest fight Amanda Nunes has ever fought in her whole life. It didn't last very long. It was awesome. Stiff, flat-footed, got drunk on her own fucking potions. She was her own potion seller for a while, and it led to her downfall, guys. Baller, epic, big pimpin'. I love that. You love to see it. After she gets KO'd and they announce the winner, she looks just sad. She's like, yep, career's over. How embarrassing. Look at the pre-fight thug face. You should have done Indian Joe Car, Ronda. Then you might have scared Nunes. That would be really scary, actually. Yeah, those theories about her retiring if she lost again, they were completely correct. Her armbar won't work on actual really talented strikers. Her massive, awesome, epic armbar and her judo skills. She said she was the greatest striker of all time.
MMA striking is different, and I think I'm the best at it.
What she actually meant is that she was a good striker with really flat feet and a glass jaw. One-dimensional, one-dimensional, one-dimensional. As soon as you meet two-dimensional, aka Paper Mario, it's over for you, dude. The end has begun for Ronda Rousey here. She shut down even further, and she went from the most cocky, fucking unlikable person to a sad human being, unable to take accountability for her actions.
Have you been able to, do you think about the last couple fights? Do you think about what happened, or have you processed it all? the end of the last fight against Amanda or Holly.
I think I'd just rather not talk about that right now.
You're an adult. It doesn't hurt to just say, hey, yeah, I lost. I got high on my own supply. I was smoking that pack, and I got a little too fucking into it. And you know, I may only be just a girl, but I don't know. Maybe I would talk to the PR team or something like that. I'm not sure. It's just important to remember, though, that there were people who said that this person here who reacts to loss like this and who loses like this, there were people who said she was the greatest fighter who ever lived. Joe Rogan said she could beat any man in the bantamweight. He says he's hypothetical on it. I don't know about that. I think he might have just been drinking the fucking supply as well. People thought that she could beat Floyd Mayweather. What? Now the pendulum's the opposite way, and she's a victim. Incredibly hard on herself, fixating on her losses.
I got to the finals of World Championships and I lost, and you know, I went to 2 Olympics and I lost, and it, you know, it's still hard to like realize your childhood dreams, you know, not coming true.
She considered what?
What am I anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and like thinking about in that exact second. I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore? And no one gives a shit about me anymore without this.
Seemed like she was really hurt. Okay, guys. And what does every athlete that gets really hurt do? Well, they turn to a world of dreams and imagination and glass elevators and glass ceilings. No, not glass ceilings. They turn to the WWE.
Introducing the challenger, the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey!
Yay, Logan Paul, yay! She got insanely embarrassed and then went on the WWE.
Ronda Rousey with a kendo stick and Charlotte with 2 kendo sticks in hand.
She appeared a few times on that, WrestleMania 31 in 2015.
Oh no! It's Ronda Rousey! It's the greatest UFC women's champion of all time. Undefeated!
That was her first appearance. That was like pre-big massive loss, and she just kind of pivoted fully into it after all the big L's.
This is my ring. So Ronda, unless you're gonna sit over there and enjoy WrestleMania like a nice little fan, why don't you get the hell out of my ring?
It was just really cringe. I don't get the WWE, all right? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I love saying shit that makes people mad about it. I like saying, I thought only white trash people watched this. And then people were like, I will like it. And I'm like, well, that sucks. I don't know. I just have a really warped view of the WWE, I guess. I'd never understood it. Isn't it fake?
He's had a very busy week here in Saudi Arabia. He's had dinner with many princes.
In March of 2018, she would make her first true debut, I guess, at WrestleMania 34 at a mixed tag team match with her and Kurt Angle.
I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even gonna try.
Versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Kurt Angle, this guy, the guy with the big wide neck. Yeah, that's Kurt Angle. Oh, she picked him up. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, oh my God. Here comes Ronda in the ring. So cringe. She was beloved by fans yet again, but shit took a bad turn. She got arrested. Okay. Ronda got paired up with this chick, Becky Lynch, in the WWE, someone more beloved than herself. Never heard of her, to be honest. They got arrested. There was a script and a bit and stuff, and this led to Becky carrying the storyline into real life. Twitter. She showed some fake, stupid mugshots of her getting arrested, and it was really dumb. Ronda, you go back to get that belt because I didn't come this far to collect. Stephanie, you get arrested. Ronda replied like a Twitch streamer on Twitter, saying she was just a dumbass. I mean, this was her response. That's what I'm trying to do, dumbass. You hobbling around like you be a ginger crutch ninja and taking fake prison photos in the hallway isn't helping. Becky said as a response to that, keep that F word out of your mouth and concentrate on getting better at this business instead of trying to remain above it. Look forward to seeing you real soon. Ronda then responded by saying, F word, you mean fake? Fake like your nonsensical BS armbar that doesn't even work and looks like you're holding the you wish you had. Yeah, that is pretty cringe. And then she doubled down and said, Rebecca Quinn, I don't care what the script says. I'm beating the living shit out of you next time I see you. She then pulled an Oompaville and started talking about how it's all scripted and made up. She did this on her YouTube channel.
I meant that I'm going to disrespect the sport that they all love so much. Oh, don't break kayfabe, Ronda. Wrestling's it's scripted. It's made up. It's not real. None of those bitches can touch me. The end.
Guess I was right, guys. Guess it is fake. Guess it is fake. Yeah, I don't know. It's all just a bit, I assume, right? No, because the WWE kicked her off and she got kicked off. She started bashing the sport continuously. She just made an enemy of WWE, which you really don't want to do. Anyone who's outraged by calling pro wrestling is fake, fight for fun has never been the real fight. Yes, I understand wrestling is tough on the body. Yeah, 3 fight, you would be dead. Then she shit talked her own fans on Steve-O's show. Just a massive, just lots of L's, lots of feet in the grave of ungratefulness and just, I mean, truly self-made failure. Self-made success, self-made failure. Unfortunate.
Where do women with no legs work?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's crawling with pussy.
She said in this that she'd never return to the WWE full-time again.
Well, if I ever do come back, it will never be at a full-time capacity ever again.
Right. Like maybe come back for WrestleMania.
He should play a ghoul in season 2 of Fallout, to be honest. She was back at Royal Rumble 2022, and by God, I watched every second of it. I'm a huge fan of that. All right, just kidding, guys. I don't give a Oh my God, look at all these fans. This is a true WWE moment.
The baddest woman on the planet is back! Are you kidding me?
Not exactly sure what Ronda's doing. She's no longer part of the WWE. Okay, and then after 2022, she didn't want to be there. She walked out with attitude. Seemed like she really didn't want to be back in the WWE. I'm not sure if she was doing it for money or what. I'm not sure how much money they make. She came back in 2022. She looked really grumpy, walked out with an attitude. What's real? What's fucking fake? Wrestle Ops tweeted. Ronda Rousey is now officially no longer a part of the WWE. The company moved her to the alumni section of her website. Seems like poor Ronda just can't catch a break. So many L's. She failed at real fighting, but also won heavily. I mean, it's really important to acknowledge the massive 95% just awesomeness, 5% just terrible cringe. Maybe closer to 80-20, but still, she also couldn't get out of the WWE. So how does someone like that talk about their career? How do they talk? How do they get out of that hole? Well, guys, they don't. They dig the hole. They ask for a shovel, and then they dig the hole even fucking deeper.
She's a fraud, and I know that like I'm the greatest
This
fighter
is 4 weeks ago, by the way.
that has ever lived, but when it got to a point where I'd just taken so much neurological damage that I couldn't.
Oh man, are you really blaming everything on taking neurological damage? You're a fighter. Isn't that the whole deal? You get punched in the head, not in the ring, not in the UFC when you're getting paid, but like to train, you get punched in the head a lot in training. That's sort of how it works. She's still a month ago, by the way. This isn't 2021. This isn't 2016. This is a month ago, stating she's the best fighter to ever live.
And just from that one fight, everybody felt like, oh, she's a fraud. And I know that like I'm the greatest fighter that has ever lived, but when it got to a point where I'd just taken so much neurological damage that I couldn't take it anymore, suddenly everything that I accomplished meant nothing.
What about Muhammad Ali's daughter? Or just someone else, some other girl, you know? Because if we're talking girls, I don't know. I don't even fucking know. Holly Holm, Amanda Nunes, Rose Rose, what's her last name? Rose. We're talking men. We're talking Habib and we're talking John Jones. And if you don't like that, then you're dumb as to be honest. And just fucking making excuses as to why she lost.
People making all these judgments about me in a fight where I was literally, my first loss, I was not like, my mouth guard was bad. I literally came into that fight concussed from slipping down some stairs already after all of these years of, concussions. And then I had absolutely terrible weight cut, which, that means you have less fluid in your brain to protect it. And I was out on my feet for the entire fight. I was just trying to make it look like I wasn't hurt, but I wasn't there cognitively.
Her mouth guard was bad. She was already concussed because she fell down steps. Hey, listen, lady, I fell down the steps when I was like 9 years old and have a giant scar on the back of my head. And I fucking couldn't see right and have had chronic migraines ever since. Don't see me making any excuses about it. Just kidding. Obviously, she fights in combat sports. So probably didn't help. She blames that concussion on years of other concussions, is something that compounds. She says that your brain can't callus, which is absolutely true, but you have access to experts and you have access to advice, and you know, you can live, you don't have to just fight 3 times a year, championship fights. You don't have to do that. You can take time off and heal your brain. It's a thing that people do quite frequently. She also blames it on her weight cut for that fight as well, which it did look like a rough weight cut, and the lack of for the Holly Holm fight, I mean, and the lack of fluid in your brain does sometimes can lead to it shutting off a little more, they say. Just being dehydrated is bad for you. Seems like to me she'll never recover. She's an unsportsmanlike brat, to be honest. Like, one of the most dislikable persons I've ever seen in combat sports, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of pieces of shit. Some of them are murderers. They're not necessarily good people. I have met quite a few of them. They're pretty cool. All right. I met Tim Kennedy, who's pretty fucking cool. I was talking to Tim Kennedy. All right. I was chilling with Tim Kennedy for like 30 seconds, chilling, talking to Tim Kennedy for 30 seconds. And he's like, all right, guys, I need to go send an email. Walks off, gets in a helicopter, flies away. What the fuck? Not even joking. That's 100% true. You can ask my girlfriend. That shit was crazy. Ronda Rousey, on the other hand, doesn't seem like she'll ever recover from this, and she's dropping the opportunities. It's just not good, man. It's just not good. How do you deal with that legacy? It's really interesting to me because it seems like there's so much stuff you could do to just easily 180 and get yourself out of it. You don't have to be sour and negative and blame shit on everybody else but yourself. If you're to take responsibility and act like a nice, cool person, people will respond. That's kind of how that's kind of how it works. Good people don't get just shit on. Generally speaking, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong and an idiot, but it seems like Ronda Rousey has surfaced again, and her legacy is really coming to the top because she's promoting a book. It's called Rousey Our Fight, and she went on Steve-O's podcast, showed it off there.
We're here to talk about your new book. It's your second book. And is this new book described as a memoir?
Yeah, they're both memoirs. I just had a lot of life happen, so I had to like space it out against 2 books. Maybe it'll be a third one day. I hope not.
Seems like the internet hates Ronda Rousey right now because she will do quite literally everything but admit that Holly Holm was a better fighter that day. Don't even give her one day. Nothing. Not even a single day. You can't even do that. And obviously, this shit got back to Holly. What did Holly say?
Ronda Rousey has released this book, and she's made a lot of revelation. She said she was concussed when she fought you, had many concussions before. She should be known as the greatest fighter ever, et cetera, et cetera. What's just your reaction when you hear this? Do you feel like she's trying to take away from your win all these years later? Do you think this is accurate? Just give us your thoughts.
Well, so everything I say, which I'm sure people will just take parts of what I'm about to say and make it sound how you guys want. But I say this all out of respect. In order to have a big upset like that fight was, you have to have a dominant champion. So without her being so dominant, then I couldn't have been able to have such an upset. But with that being said, I was the better fighter. I was the better fighter that night. And every fighter at this point, if you've made a career of fighting, you've had a concussion at some point. You go back and look at some of my boxing fights and some of the things that I've done, I've definitely had some concussions. So I'll never sit here and use that as an excuse for any loss. And I think that it's probably just hard for her to really want to maybe admit that I was just the better fighter.
There you go. Another KO. Another KO. She's trying to be a history revisionist, Ronda is, and Holly Holm knocked her out again. Man. Back to Joe Rogan. He's got a bit of internal conflict on Ronda's legacy. Joe kind of paved the way, carried the bandwagon. Like I said, he thought Ronda could beat 50% of the bantamweight men, which is just not. That's crazy. He was Ronda's biggest hype man, pretty much. Look at this hype. Look at all this hype. Huge hype train.
Sort of historical event. She's just some incredible historical figure. I really knew that I was like seeing history.
You're about to watch history.
You're in the middle of history. And to call her fights, to be able to call her fights is, I don't use that word lightly at all. It is a real honor. Roll out the red carpet. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. That stuff freaks me out.
It's an honor to call your fights.
Dana, when you get a chance to watch Ronda Rousey fight,
It's not a fight. We're witnessing the second coming of Christ. Revelations 5, she is the Lamb. She's the Lamb, Dana.
He then realizes that he was just kind of wrong, and he said that she was good but limited, and she wasn't the most brutal or skillful. And he's just kind of honest. And then Ronda takes that as saying Joe Rogan made a 180 on her. She can't take criticism.
There's very high level striking, very high level submissions, very high level fluid overall mixed martial arts games that you're seeing in the women's division. And Ronda, in a lot of ways, as spectacular as she was, had a very limited approach. She didn't kick. She punched, but she wasn't necessarily like the most brutal knockout puncher, and she wasn't necessarily the most skillful boxer. She didn't really have a tremendous amount of experience. What she had was incredible athleticism, a world-class mindset. She was a world-class athlete. You know, she's a former Olympian, and outstanding judo. Her judo and her arm bars are amongst the best in the world.
She's the person most allergic to criticism I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, all right. A dangerous ego. When you lose, it's humiliating. You humiliate yourself. You humiliate yourself even further. You respond with anger instead of humility and grace. It's easy. It's easy. There's plenty of paths. Plenty of people have lost. People have lost battles. People have lost their families. People have lost a lot more than Ronda Rousey and responded with things like humility and grace. They shift their perspective. She's still very rich, doing extremely well. How about shut the fuck up? I don't see her getting any fans anytime soon. It's just, I mean, dude, look how many views this shit has for the UFC. The most respectful moments. 27 million views. I love it when people have respect. Even if they start off talking shit, they have respect at the end of it. Dude, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, like, they had respect. There's class. You can be a negative person for the show of it and sell the fights, but God, people like cheering the underdogs. People like cheering, they like going against the grain, and it will never work out for Miss Ronda Rousey. Anyways, yo.